Florida State at Florida. Saturday night, 7 o'clock. Swamp is sold out. Games on ESPN, and it's a battle of backup quarterbacks. Tate Rodemaker, the redshirt junior for Florida State. You got Max Brown. He's a true freshman for Florida. Who is going to help their quarterback the most? The FanDuel line on this game right now is Florida State minus 6.5. The first quarter in this game, to me, is as imperative and as important as in any big game this weekend. And the reason is because both offenses, prior to losing their quarterbacks, were top 30 passing offenses. So then you take out the quarterback that was the trigger puller in that entire equation. Which one potentially just goes into a shell? Which one proves to you, no, we got another guy who can do it too? The run games were 63rd and 78th nationally. So it wasn't like these teams were taking over games on the ground. They were throwing the ball to win games. Each defense is in the 100s in explosive runs allowed. So you would think this sets up for a run game to take over, but neither of them has really shown the ability to do that a lot. So it's largely been quarterbacks that have done it for these teams, and maybe a quarterback steps up this Saturday. If one of them falls behind, though, that's when you get yourself in a lot of trouble. So I think the first quarter is imperative here. There's a world where Florida State, with the size advantage they have at receiver, just sees those guys go and tear away half a dozen 50-50 balls, and they just physically take the game over. There's a world where that happens. There's also a world, for either of these teams, really, there's a world where that galvanization happens in the locker room, where you lost your quarterback, and your team knows it all week. And so you got an entire week's preparation, but also an entire week's worth of baking into your mind. Our guys down, we got to win it. We got to go win it. Linebacker room, safety room, tight end room, we got to go win it. Does someone bottle that up? Do both teams bottle that up? Does neither team bottle that up? Florida is much different at home. You've seen them struggle on the road, much different at home. They allow 2 times as many points in road games as they do at home. Totally different. Like they beat Tennessee at home earlier this year and then looked like a shell of themselves the couple of weeks later at Kentucky. FSU has a huge turnover margin edge here. Florida has a huge penalties per game edge. It's a bowl game on the line for Florida. It's college football playoff livelihood on the line for Florida State. Let's take a look, Colin, at what the model thinks. Florida State, in the eyes of FanDuel, is a 6.5-point favorite. We don't agree whatsoever. We've got FSU, according to our model, minus 1.5. I went and checked because I thought maybe there was an error in the model and it had not baked in the Graham Mertz injury. All of it's baked in. We think this is almost a pick'em game. And I think that Florida is good enough at home, and I think the Swamp with a bowl trip on the line will be lit up enough at home to where I will roll the dice. I will pick Florida to win the game. So obviously I think they'll cover. I think that may be a mild upset that's pulled Saturday. Billy Napier needs that one really bad, man. You know what it would feel a lot like? It would feel a lot like Beamer and his team beating Clemson last year, and it sort of washed away some of the stench of an otherwise, that was a fairly good year for South Carolina, but all you remembered was the Clemson win. Well, if Billy Napier can get this win, there's still a lot to work on, but if they get to 6 wins at the expense of Florida State, then that rights a lot of wrongs for Billy Napier. I think there's a shot they get it done. So I'm going to roll the dice. I'm going to take Florida to win it outright.